Hello, I'm Sam Jahari. Welcome to AllPointsTV.com. This is Briona's Legacy, and we're coming to you from the heart of Flint, Michigan. All right. Well, I want to welcome you to the show again. Today, I want to cover. We had the Pope over, and he did this big prayer thing over at one of the prisons. And I was listening to the newscasters. They're talking about 5% of the population is here in America, and we have more people in prisons here than anywhere else. And we've covered this subject so many times. And 70 to 75% of all the people that we have in prisons, it's drug related or it's the mental health issue. And if you look at what's going on in our world, this all the killings, and the that thing that happened in the church, where 9 people got killed, and all the schools happening from years back. It's always related to a mental health issue. And the whole thing is, a while back here in America, we closed up like our mental health hospitals. We closed them up, and we pretty much said, we started putting people in prisons. Even from in the 70s, President Nixon of this war on drugs, and where has it gotten us? It hasn't gotten us anywhere. There's more people in prison, and there's more people on drugs than any time ever before. Um, you know, the whole thing is this epidemic. It's not going away. It just keeps getting worse and worse. As a matter of fact, 328 people die every day from overdoses to drugs and alcohol. Every day, 328 people. And if you look at some of the candidates and stuff, and they're opening up their eyes, that Governor Kasich, I believe, he was talking about what they did in Ohio, to help the mental health. And so they're starting to address it, little by little. It's like, come on, you got to wake up. Sooner or later, we have to address these issues. It costs anywhere from $28,000 to $40,000 to house somebody in a prison, where I don't think, again, I'm just a father that lost a child. I'm not educated in the field of this, but I think it would cost us a lot less money to actually treat people, that have this mental health issues or the addiction problem. I don't think it would cost us as much as it is to house them in a jail or a prison. That sooner or later these people are going to get out, and guess what? They're going to go right back to what they know, okay? Because they're not getting the treatment, especially in the prisons, right? Anyway, just something else to look at, Well, here's another thing too. Again, we're 5% of the population, but of all the opiates that's prescribed, okay, all the opiates, which is the hard pain pills, okay, 95% is consumed here in the USA. Isn't that crazy? Yep. Where's your pain levels? Yep. Right. Exactly. That's, as a doctor, that's how they're taught. And they're taught from the drug companies' views, to just write a script, I'm sure that's how they get paid. And the whole thing is, uh, we as doctors here, it's not like we're really trying to cure anybody. We are just we want to keep people on different medications, and the whole thing is once you get on these medications, like your blood pressure medicine, you're on this forever, forever, and you're not. It's not like we're trying to heal anybody from anything. Whether it's diabetes or blood pressure or cholesterol or anything. Once you get started on a pill, you're stuck. You're done with it. We're never ever going to be off of these pills. And the whole thing is, all these different medications that's prescribed. Okay, there's a side effect, and we talked about this once before. I seen something that came through Facebook, and it was a guy that had this shirt on the back, and that's what the picture of was. It and it said, I started on this medication for cholesterol. From the cholesterol, I ended up with hypertension, and from the hypertension, I ended up on this medication, and from that medication, I ended up with, diabetes or. He was on 7 different medications from the start of the one, from the side effects of these different medications. And the writer, he says it's kind of funny, but really it's not. And that's what we've gotten into here in America. It's not like we're trying to heal anybody or we want anybody to get better. We just want to keep prescribing medication over and over because that's the money. That's where the money is. Okay. I hate to say it, but corruption is all about. It's all about the money. If I don't know if you recall, but a couple years ago, there was this doctor. He was a cancer doctor, and he was prescribing. He was telling people they had cancer, which didn't. Okay, and these people didn't get a second opinion, obviously. Okay, and he was making millions and millions and millions of dollars off the chemotherapy, and he was killing people. It was all about the money. It was all about the money. And this is the world we live in, okay? It's so corrupt, and everybody's just chasing the mighty dollar and don't have a conscience. Don't have a conscience, okay? So, this whole thing, it all started from me losing my daughter to overdose of heroin. And I tell people, you know what? It's like I was asleep. I had my eyes closed. I didn't know what was really happening. I didn't know that of the stigma, that goes behind drugs and stuff. We always think that, it's a matter of choice. Why don't people just quit? But I'm here to tell you, okay, because I used to think the same way. Nobody chooses. No one chooses to live off garbage. No one chooses to be homeless. No one chooses to sell their bodies so they can get their next hit. No one chooses to lie or steal or to live that kind of lifestyle, because that's what it comes down to. What happens is the drugs become your master, and you do anything and everything to get them. And the whole thing is, we want to shove this under the carpet and say it's not happening. But guess what? It's happening in almost in every household. Almost in every household, they're touched by drugs and alcohol. I go in front of these kids in schools, and there's a lot of these schools, that want to say, oh, we don't have that problem here. And they're lying. They're lying. They don't want to bring this out on the surface, to say this is happening in their school, because guess what? They're worried that if you bring it out on the surface, people will go to other school districts. But it doesn't matter where you live. It doesn't matter what kind of neighbor, that you live in, how much money you have, what kind of car you drive. Drugs, they're not prejudiced. They don't really care, okay? And they will take you down. Plain and simple, okay? Plain and simple. Here's what I found out, okay? In my studies after my daughter died, I wanted to educate myself. I got turned on to, the sheriff department came out with this program. It was called Chasing the Dragon. And 2 months after my daughter died, they asked me if I would speak. And I said, sure. I'm willing to do anything to help somebody else's child because I lost mine. I had pain, and which I still carry this pain that, from depression and losing a child, you never really recover. You never get over it. Every day it haunts you. And as a parent, you just feel like you've let that child down somehow, because we are the protectors. These are our kids. We're supposed to protect them from the world, of evil. And I could not protect my child. I could not protect my child. I turned to a system that I thought was there to help me. I thought that's all I can do for my child because I really didn't know what to do. And the whole thing is, the system is in your home. They pretty much, don't spank your child, don't do this. Everything is made, or these laws are made because of a few bad apples. So what happens is they come out with these laws that covers everybody. It's kind of what they call that cookie cutter approach to everybody. I was ran through the system. My daughter, she was running away. So I turned to the police station. I turned to the sheriff department, which let me down. I turned to a runaway program, which really they were the best help. All they did is they finally got me in front of a judge, Then I was looked at this judge. Within 2 minutes, he had me all pegged like it was my fault, He told me, it sounds like you just want to blame everybody for your problems with your daughter instead of just taking a couple weeks off and being home with your daughter. I was dumbfounded. Even the people that were with me, they called this judge an effing asshole. They said, don't listen to him. He's an effing asshole. Plain and simple. All right? And I don't know. We look upon these judges or these people in authority figures like they're supposed to have the answers, which they don't. They don't have a freaking clue of what's happening. That's how it is, okay? And these are the people that we are supposed to count on in the time of need, all right? In the time that we're looking for help, all right? I even approached the school district, okay, which I felt let me down, okay? So, then finally going through the court system and everything, all I ever pleaded was, please don't let my daughter slide through the cracks. Please don't let her slide through the cracks. Which she did. And she overdosed and died. Well, people look at you like, well, why didn't she just stop? Well, I think if she could have, she would have, It got to the point where it wasn't in her hands anymore. And I believe they get to a point where they just kind of give up on life. They don't like the person that they become. They look in the mirror, they don't know who that other person is looking at them. My daughter, she was a beautiful child. A beautiful child. She suffered with self-esteem. She suffered with bipolar, okay? Bipolar depression. She lost her mother, 2 years prior to an overdose. And she could never recover. First, she wanted to numb the pain that she was feeling from the loss of her mom. She wanted to help this older boy that was struggling of the same thing. And see, when I found out that she was using, I'm like, Briona, why would you do that? And her answer was, Daddy, I wanted to know what was so good in this drug that kept my mom away. Through her whole thing is she loved her mom, but she was angry at her because she was in and out of prisons. She was in and out of rehabs. She was never there for important things, birthdays or Christmas or different things of her life. But she loved her mother. That was her mother. Um, Her mother, to make up for these things, she just wanted to be her best friend. She didn't want to be her mother. She wanted to be her best friend because she had a lot of guilt. And that's how it was. So no matter what her mother did, even though Briona at 9 years old was molested by her mother's boyfriend, she loved her mom. Hell yeah, she loved her mother. Her mom couldn't do no wrong because that's her mom. And that's the truth of it. That's the truth of it. Okay? Sometimes you're blind to the truth in front of you. Okay? And you don't care to see what happens. All right? Well, here's another statistic. Okay? 80% of women or girls that turn to drugs, okay, they've been sexually abused somehow. Okay? 80% of girls that start on pain or on drugs, okay, and get addicted, okay, they were sexually abused somehow. All right. Well, here's another statistic for you. Okay. This addiction, okay, it's not losers that don't come from good homes. Okay. It's people they're the cream of the crop that it's happened to, that's happening to, day in, day out, okay? Let's open our eyes to what's happening, all right? And I believe through communication, all right, and through awareness, through education, that we make the right choices, that we do the right thing, okay? To be honest with you, I remember going through this, and 2 years of hell in my home, okay, that really I was embarrassed for people to know what was happening in my home. I was embarrassed I'm going through the judicial system. I'm embarrassed as a parent. But as in the long run, I felt like I let my child down, you know, like I did something wrong, which I didn't. I didn't do anything wrong. I loved my child with all mine, and I tried to do everything for her, you know, because it was unconditional. And I never stopped loving her, you know. Friday, not Friday, but Sunday, I was on the Ask Dr. Nandy show, you know, and to be honest with you, it's still, going into the schools or whenever I have a presentation or I go like on the Dr. Nandy show, it's like all these wounds get reopened, and it's a very emotional day, you know. Even when I do this show, it brings a lot of emotions back up. And when I came home from taping the Dr. Nandy show, I found Briona's diary, you know, um, and she was in such pain, such pain. She was mad at me. Why can't my dad see? What, Because as a parent, when your child is lashing out, and you know, I was taking her phone away. I took her TV privileges away. I I don't know. I was trying to reach my child, and a lot of times as a parent, your child is gonna hate you, you know. No matter how hard it is to hear it, that's the truth of it, because we are to parent, and it's not always because the child doesn't see the good things for them, Um, but my child was mad at me. She hated me, She wanted to go live with her mom. But really, she didn't want to go live with her mom. On her diary, she's talking to a dead mom, you know. Where were you? Where are you? You were supposed to be here when I got married. You were supposed to be here when I graduate. You were supposed to, be here for my birthday, for Christmas, and you're gone, And my dad doesn't understand me, uh, and I'm disappointed in him and stuff like this. And she was in pain, and I couldn't reach her. I didn't know how bad it was, I'm just trying to parent her because she wouldn't really tell me the pain that she was feeling. After she died, I knew that she was in pain. I knew that, she was having a hard time with the loss of her mother. But I couldn't get her to therapy. I didn't know how to help her. Um, well, a lot of times, you know, 70% of all addicts, you know, it's genes that they inherit from their parents or their grandparents or somebody in their family. All right. So, um, my daughter has this addiction gene, or I call it brain disease, or the sickness that we keep talking about of addiction. All right. And the whole thing is, um, you know, they just feel inapt. They don't feel complete for some reason. You know, they have a mental health issue of depression, or bipolar, or um, just don't have the self-esteem. Okay, um, I um, Oprah a few years ago, she did this show. You know, after losing an actor or something, and she finally did. Um, wanted to do a show about drugs or addiction, and in the show, she talked about, she was raped, and one of her siblings was an addict, and these things happen, from day in to, they happen all around us, is what I'm trying to get at. And these pains, okay, that happen, and a lot of times, we go to a regular doctor because we want to cover the pain. I know from my own family, okay, my father, he was in a bad car accident, and they didn't think that he would survive. But through his car accident, my dad was given morphine, and sure, he got addicted to it. I remember my mom giving him the shots, but I remember this one weekend, and my dad was very agitated, and I think that was the only time I remember my dad really ever spanking me. Okay, um, but my dad, he didn't have the morphine, and he didn't have the morphine, so we had this alcoholic drink. It's kind of like ouzo, but we call it arak, which is a very potent, um, like a licorice alcohol. Um, and I remember, so vividly this day. It was like a weekend, a Saturday or a Sunday, but he had put this in the syringe and shot himself up with it because he was addicted. Okay, but come Monday, I remember my mom taking him to the Pontiac State Mental Health Institution. It was still um, a mental health institution back then. Okay, you don't find them anymore, really, not by the state anyway. So I remember, him talking about it, and he said it's like you were sent to jail. These big steel doors, you go in and they kind of close behind you. But he was there for, I believe it was 2 or 3 weeks, to get him off the morphine, and he was good. I had two other siblings. One was into crack for approximately about 30 years. I had a younger sibling. She, at 16 or 17, she got hooked on cocaine. And I remember she went to rehab one time and she was good to go. Never got on it again. But my other sibling, 30 years, she struggled with addiction, in and out of rehabs, in and out of jail, till finally she kicked it. This sickness, there's no cure for it. But, long as you stay away from that first drink or that first drug or the first of anything, of what you're addicted to, that's the cure. That's the cure. You never go back to it. How come it works on some people and some people it don't? That I don't know. I don't get it. Briona went, to a few rehabs, 7 days, 9 days, till finally they sent her to a rehab place for juvenile, and I think she went for about 3 months. I felt that long as the court had a hold of her, or she was going to do the right thing. As soon as they let go, she turned back to what she knows. Why? I don't know. I don't know why some people, will kick it and some people don't. But I know I've gone to a lot of funerals. I've gone to so many funerals, in the last 4 years than I ever gone to in my whole life. Young people between the ages of 16, 15 to 23, 24 years old. Okay? A lot of times when we, talking to people from rehabs and stuff like that, administrators, they talk about that most juveniles start at the age of 12, 13 years old. 12 to 13 years old. Well, let me give you a different view, okay? 10 of us will go to a party, okay? 10 of us are going to the party, and whether we smoke marijuana, or we drink alcohol, or we pop some pills, or whatever, we all did the same thing. 10 of us. One person will become an addict. Isn't that crazy? 1 out of 10. 10%, okay, are they have these addiction genes. All right. Well, I told you 70% we inherit these genes. Then the other 30% are the people we hang with, or the people we hang with. right? Um, it's like this. um, After Briona died, 2 days later, this other girl passed away too. She was a couple years older than Briona. Um, they ran with the same crowd together. And the whole thing is, no matter how much this girl knew to stay away from this, okay, but it's like join us, hang with us, do this. You gotta really feel the high. Misery loves company. That's it, you know. But a lot of times in the beginning, it's fun or something. I don't know. Okay, and what happens is, this girl never did this drug, and she tried it once, and that's it. Okay, 97 or 95 to 97% of people that use heroin can't kick it. Only 3 to 5% ever actually stop. That's not very good odds. Um, you're playing Russian roulette, okay? Where you got 5 bullets and only 1 missing in the chamber. That's what it is. All right. 5 bullets and only 1 blank when you use this. When you use heroin. A lot of them say, well, I remember in the Mrs. Reagan, on her war of drugs, we had the eggs in the skillet. This is drugs, and this is your brain on drugs. Okay, um, and the big thing was just say no, but they didn't really tell you why. Okay, well, I'm here to tell you why. It's a dead end road. There's nowhere to go. Okay, either death or in prison, and that's all there is. Okay, or you live a life that you don't know who you are. I guess there's 3 choices. But when you live that life, sooner or later it's going to get you. Sooner or later, death is coming. I sit here going through the radio show, being on TV, or going into schools, and I can't tell you enough of make the right choices. Well, even when you make the right choice, okay, and you have this addiction gene, all right, we have doctors that you walk into their office, and they want to know your pain level, okay, or you go in there because you pulled a tooth out and you're going to be in pain or discomfort for a few days, all right, or you broke a leg or you were in a car accident or something where you are in pain, okay, and what happens is you might be in discomfort or pain for a few days, but they don't know how to give you a script for 3 days or 4 days. They give you a month's supply, okay. They used to give you an unlimited, 6 months refills. Okay, I think they changed the law where they don't do that anymore. Thank God. I mean, we're starting to move a little bit in the right direction. It's like 1 step forward and 3 steps back. Okay, last year, our government or the FDA approved this drug that's like it's like 10% hydrocodone, okay, where it was just pure hydrocodone. A lot of times they put something else with it. So with this, what happens is these drug addicts, they can crush it down and snort it. they can put it in something and smoke it, you know. But no matter how much the FDA was told that this is a very highly addictive, and we already have all kinds of stuff for pain, okay, it was approved. Um, Again, why does these things happen? What I find is people are so into the money, and if you have enough money, you can get anything to pass. O.J. Simpson, you know, everybody knew this man did it, but you pay enough for the right lawyers, even murderers can get off. All right, um, that's just the facts. Okay, um, a lot of times we're sidetracked to the truth, you know, because they want to make it. It's about prejudice, or it's about the race, or it's about something else, and not really looking at the truth. Okay, um, you know, the kid that killed the 9 black people in the church, you know, all of a sudden it's about race because, you know, he's prejudiced. Well, sure enough, but let's go back a little bit. 6 months prior to this kid was at a mall. He was so high on um, um, like a synthetic heroin of some sort, okay, that, you know, the police were called, they came in. I mean, here, they should have known that this guy has a mental health issue and he should have been treated for this mental health issue, that he pretty much slid through the cracks, okay? Um, you know, the other kid or guy that had the shooting, anywhere you want, anywhere you want. When you look at, you know, what happens, you know, they find out it's a mental health issue, but they want to change it. Oh, this kid wasn't treated right at school, or he was mad at this person, or he would. They don't. They don't finish that. It's a mental health issue, and we keep avoiding the real thing of what's happening. Okay, we want to turn it into about race or about, you know, uh, heck, even at the when they had the shootings at the postal office, okay, the guy was pissed off at his employer, okay, but he was suffering of a mental health issue. Let's look at the truth of it, of what, you know, just for somebody to go and kill, that's just crazy, okay, and they have to be crazy to do that, and then to take your own life, okay. Something is not right. And it's not just being mad at your employer because they fired you or whatever. There's something deeper than that. And through communication, we can open it up to the truth. Let's look at really what's happening here, okay? I tell you what, I came to this country in 1969. I was 9 years old, you know. My grandfather was a U.S. citizen, okay? And he went back to Lebanon, and he married my grandmother. And when my father was born, you know, because of my grandfather was a citizen, he was a naturalized citizen. He went to the embassy and he said, "Hey, I'm a citizen of the U.S. I just had a baby." So he's automatically a U.S. citizen. Okay, same thing with my aunt. And that's how we came to this country. All right. I'm not going to go into the issues of, you know, undocumented foreigners or whatever. That's not where I'm going with this. But this is where I'm going with this. In this country, there was about love. We cared for one another, and we were neighborly, and we looked out for each other's kids, and you know, that's where they came up with this. It takes a village, you know. But the whole thing is, we're so divided. The love is gone. We have some real issues going on, and that's why It's falling apart all around us. Okay? Um, I don't know what the, you know, I don't have the solutions, but I'm opening up the dialogue. Let's find the solutions together. Okay? Let's find the solutions together. Join me in this fight because I can't do it alone. Okay? Um, you know, people say, why do you do this? Um, because I'm in pain. I lost a child, and I'm hoping that you don't have to feel the pain that I feel every day. That's why I do this. You know, um, it's not about the money or anything because there is no money. All right, um, but it's about you not have to feel this pain that I feel every day. I tell you what, for months it was hard for me to get out of bed. I suffered from depression. Your whole body aches. There ain't nothing you can take to feel better. Okay, and 3-4 months into it, my wife, she, bless her heart, she was like, honey, we have 2 other children that needs you. You need to go get help. You need to go do whatever you need to do, but I need my husband back. Our kids need their father back. You couldn't help Briona. Briona's gone, but we're still here and we're still alive and we need you. So yeah, I started therapy, you know. Um, and about 3 months into the therapy, I loved my therapist. I mean, she cried with me. She was so good. She showed me different things. And at the time, I was doing the presentations and stuff, and she'd say, well, look, you're helping, you're doing the right things. Well, into that, we got into about sleep and stuff like that. And she says, maybe if you got more sleep, you would feel better. It would help, the depression. So, it all started about something to sleep more. Um, and, um, I started seeing a psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist started out with something for sleep. And, it's just a mild dose. Then it went up a dose plus they added something else. Well, within 4 months, um, I'm on 4 or 5 different medications. And, my wife was like, honey, you're a space case. All this medication is like you have something to go to sleep, something to wake up, something to feel good, something this. She says, what's the difference? What's the difference in this medication that you're taking or the medication your daughter was doing? Which made a lot of sense. So I went into the doctor's office and, the doctor's like, well, how's this working out? And I said, you know what, Doc? I says, I'm still not sleeping through the night. Now I'm waking up groggy. Then you give me something else and I'm loopy. I'm still depressed. I lost my child. Maybe I'm just supposed to feel. Maybe that's how I'm supposed to work through this. And this doctor, that we look up to, that they know everything that's going on, okay? He looked at me and he says, well, I don't know what you came to see me for. At that point, I had all this medication on the desk there, and I kind of stood up and I looked at this doctor. I says, I know why I came to see you, but I don't know why I came to see you, but I know I'm not coming back. And I turned around and I walked away and I left his medication on his desk and I've never been back. Do I suffer depression? I do. I still do. There's days that are very, very hard, okay? But Was I getting help from the doctor? No. You know, um, medication is not always the key. Now listen, I'm not a doctor, and I don't have all the answers. I'm just telling you, for me, it wasn't doing anything for me, just making me loopy, you know. And to be honest with you, I was afraid that I was going to end up on the same road as my daughter, being addicted to these drugs that this doctor's given me, because all these prescriptions have some kind of side effects, and I didn't want to go down that road. Um, Plus, my daughter, she was really into dolphins, okay? And the last Christmas that we were together, okay, I gave her this dolphin necklace. And um, this dolphin necklace, because her mom was really into dolphins, and um, it was the best thing. She loved it. Well, anyways, this was Christmas. Briona wasn't living at home at the time. Um, Briona calls me up in the middle of January, and she says, "Daddy, I overdosed and I almost died. I want to come home." And I says, "Briona, honey, I love you more than anything. I want you to come home. My home is always open to you. But, we have two boys that are your brothers, and you need to be setting better examples for them. I can't have this in the home. I promise, Daddy, I promise, Daddy." And Briona came home towards the end of January. And, you know, she promised that she wasn't going to do this at home, and that she wasn't going to do it again. She was going to go to school. She was going to go get her driver's license. Actually, and she did. She got her GED and passed. And she was going to get her driver's license, so she was going to that. Here, my daughter had a car, didn't have a driver's license, but she had this car in somebody else's name, so she could have insurance and she could drive this car. But so that February, Valentine's Day, she overdosed and died. So 10 months or 8 months later, it was October 9th, which Briona would have been 18 years old. So we decided that we're going to go to the cemetery and celebrate her life. I thank God every day for every second I had with my daughter. The last 2 years were a lot of pain and a lot of anger and a lot of hurt. But I thank God for every second that I had that she was here with us. So we were going to celebrate her life, So it was about 5:30 or so, 6 o'clock. The sun was coming down. Maybe it was a little bit later than that, 6:30, almost 7. But the sun was coming. It was getting dark, and the moon was shining so bright. It was shining so bright. It was like a spotlight, and it was shining on this cloud, and the cloud was a dolphin. And I felt like God was trying to tell me something. A lot of times we try to figure things out through our head, or I don't know, but I just felt like God was telling me, "Hey, she's okay," and I just need you to be okay. And I got this mission for you to do. Um, I got thrown in to speak at these presentations, and I didn't get thrown into. I volunteered, but it was like my calling. Um, all I could think about was how we could make this presentation better, how we could reach these children, these kids, these young men and women, so they wouldn't end up on this road that my daughter ended up on. And you can have your whole life planned out. And Brianna was conceived where I was having protected sex, and I busted through the rubber, and she was conceived. And to be honest with you, I was so scared because her mom was an addict. I was afraid that she would go back down that road, that I asked her mom to have an abortion, which she said no. And I'm so happy that, she said no. But God's work is God's work. He wanted her to be here. He wanted me to have her for those 17 years, But I feel like it was for me to open my eyes and to have this mission to help other children, other kids, other people. I'm not a religious man, but I have a very, very, I have a lot of spirituality, put it that way. I guess that's the best way I can describe it. Okay? I think I have my own special relationship with God, and I'm not here to preach to nobody, okay? But for me, to help me heal or to see the light, God had this mission for me, and that's how I feel. And, I had to feel this pain, and I feel like Briona was sacrificed, for me to do this. I don't know, again, I just try to see why, because after she died, I was just so mad at God. It was like I was mad at the whole world, Why did you give her to me? Just to take her away, What was the purpose of that? And sometimes we don't have the answers. But for me, I've seen the answers, especially that day when that moon was lit so bright and that cloud was a dolphin. It was like God was talking to me. He was telling me, stay on this mission. This is what I want you to do. That's the best way I can describe it, And again, I'm just a father that lost a child. I don't have, all the answers, okay? And I'm not trying to preach or tell you what's going to work for you or whatever, On the Dr. and Andy show, they asked, one of the, what advice would I give families if they were going through this? And I said, I'm not giving nobody advice, but if this was to happen again in my home, I would lock my child up, not let anybody know what was happening in my home, and I would take care of them through my love and through the love of support of the family, okay? Keeping all outsiders out, especially government and the system, okay? That's what I would do. Now, am I trying to tell you what to do? No. Am I trying to preach to you, have faith or whatever? No. I'm just telling you, this is what I needed. This is what worked for me, okay? That's all I can say. But I am telling you that I need your help so we can save someone else's child, maybe even your child, okay? Because this stigma that goes around with, or that involves addiction, has got to go away. That's the only way we can treat and people can heal, okay? Is we have to get rid of the stigma that goes behind it, okay? I'm not a doctor. I'm not government or official of anything. All right, I'm just a parent. I'm just a parent that loved my child unconditionally, and I still love her. Okay, and I have this hole in my heart. This pain never goes away, or my heart, this hole will never fill. Okay, and I don't wish this pain on you or anybody else. I don't wish this on my worst enemy. But I need your help. Okay, don't wait till this is at your door, because it's coming. Sooner or later, it's coming. All right? Almost everyone is touched by drugs and alcohol. If it's not in your household, it's in your aunts, uncles, grandparents. It's somewhere in your family. Believe me, it's coming. It's your best friend. It's your neighbor. It's there. Okay? Everybody is touched by drugs and alcohol. And just locking people away and throwing away the key, that's not working. That's not working. All right? We have to look at different things. All right? It's insanity when you keep doing the same thing and expecting different results. It's not happening. All right? Our prisons are full. Okay? And we keep building more and more prisons. It's not working. What's the solution? I don't know. I don't know. But together, maybe we can find a different solution that actually does something. Together, we can actually make something happen. All right? Where we can feel good about it. I'm a big believer that one hand does not clap by itself. All right? And the whole thing is, if you don't get involved, all right, things are just going to keep washing away, all right? More of our neighbors, of our family members are dying, okay? So I say, join me. Join these coalitions, because they're going up everywhere. They're going up everywhere. Why? Because it's happening in all communities. It's all communities, okay? Again, it's, drugs and alcohol, they're not prejudiced. They don't care who they take down, all right? They don't care who they take down, all right? Don't let it be your family member or your friends or your neighbors or someone you know, all right? The whole thing is, a lot of times when somebody's in that casket, people say, I wish I would have spoke up. I wish I would have done something. Don't wish. Stand up. Be accountable. Be accountable for your neighbors, your family, for people you know or you don't know. All right? Let's go back to what made this America great, is by helping one another. Together, we can make a difference. Something that you can be proud of. Don't turn your back and say it's not happening, because it's happening. It's happening at every school. It's happening at almost every home. Okay? It's happening. It's happening. All right? We can't wait for government to help us. Government is supposed to work for the people. That means the people has to stand up. All right? They have to be accountable. That means the louder the voice, they have to hear us. Does that make sense? Hell yeah, it makes sense. All right? I'm counting on you. I'm counting on every one of you. Because together, we can make a difference. Thanks for listening today. I really appreciate it. All right? This is allpointstv.com. My name is Sam Jahari, and this is Briona's Legacy. God bless. See you next time.